Is being an automotive content creator the best or worst job in the world? My name is Chris Gaines and I've been making a living off posting videos online for the past 3 years. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a much better understanding of how this whole world works. But first, how did we get here? Where clout goblins are destroying a community that they're not even a part of with takeovers. We got a battle between respect all builds and disrespect all builds. Half the people are saying social media has ruined the entire community. They'll back it up to before the internet. If you're old enough to remember the 4 times, think about how you connected with like-minded individuals, how you learned about new things, how you consumed what we consider content nowadays. And it's a great thought experiment for anyone who's never lived without the internet. You had magazines, TV, word of mouth, people in your environment or close to you. That was about it. And all of those things had an opportunity cost associated with them. To make TV programs about cars, for instance, would cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to produce. You're only going to put content in a magazine, or it's only going to get distributed widely if a lot of people are interested in reading it and it can sell ads and generate enough money to make a business out of it. And word of mouth, there's physical limitations to how many people an individual can connect with in person. So all of a sudden, when the internet comes around and phones and mobile devices and platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and later on TikTok start emerging, they basically cut down all of these barriers to entry for people to get their minds, their ideas, their creativity, whatever they have, actually shown and put out there. And the fact that a lot of these algorithms nowadays have transitioned from, wow, in order for me to grow a YouTube channel and get 100,000 views a video, I need to basically invest my life into building this up. Nowadays, with short form content, anyone can post something that resonates just a little bit with enough people, and boom, all of a sudden, unquantifiable numbers of eyes are on something that a person just decided to, on a whim, create and put out for everyone to see. There's definitely a lot of good and a lot of bad in that entire progression. You guys let me know if you think social media has done more harm or more good in the world. But what's my story? How does someone like me end up in the same room as some of my biggest inspirations like TJ Hunt, Amelia Hartford, and a bunch of other really cool, high quality, motivated creators? And I'll answer some questions I got on Instagram along the way. But ever since I was a kid, whenever someone asked me what I wanted to do, my answer was always, I want to be a businessman. I don't want to just trade my time directly for money. I'd rather invest all my efforts into something that can grow on its own, that can scale outside of the time that I have, and basically multiply my efforts. I've always thought outside the box in a way, but I've also always been into cars. Between Need for Speed, all the games, Lego Racers. I'm sure you guys remember the city car mat that all of us had growing up. Yeah, I had all of that stuff. And I've also always been into building and engineering. I was on the Lego robotics team. So getting into cars when I had the ability to was inevitable. But I didn't start creating content until I got my first sporty car. It was supposed to be my sister's car, because I thought Mini Cooper, that's not really my thing. But then I learned it's supercharged, it had a 6-speed manual, and the history behind the Mini Cooper brand and the way that they're supposed to handle got me actually pretty excited. So I let her have my old 97 Acura RL. I took the Mini and I just filmed some random basic things, doing a VGS mod to get some more throttle response. Nothing major, but out of college, I tried to do the Silicon Valley startup thing, growing up in San Francisco Bay Area. And that entailed taking my skills as a videographer and basically taking on the challenge of becoming a CMO, a Chief Marketing Officer. That was my first taste of actually creating content consistently with the goal of generating traffic and creating leads and conversions. And if you go on my YouTube channel and scroll back, I used to be one of those Premiere Pro and editing tutorial guys.
What's up, YouTube? Chris Gaines here.
And I was posting one of those videos a day. And I was seeing decent traffic. But what I realized is that I wouldn't be creating that content if it wasn't my job. Fast forward, that startup fails. I co-founded another startup where I got to delve even deeper into the marketing and the content creation aspect, starting a podcast, and having decent success really solidified more of the ideas, the skills, and the expertise that I was gaining in the content area. But again, while it was all very interesting to me, it wasn't my passion. It wasn't something that I would spend all of my time messing with outside of work. Fast forward a couple years, when the pandemic hits, that business is shut down. My other venture I was working on, podcasting studio, gets shut down before it even gets off the ground. Sitting at home thinking, I have all these skills. I've been messing around with cars for a while. I had my 350Z at the time, which I had already for fun filmed some installs and some basic stuff on YouTube. I decided this is when TikTok was just taking off. Let me post one TikTok a day for a month just to see what would happen. No pressure, and that's what I did. I hopped in my Z, I drove around, I got inspiration from whatever was popping up on my For You page. There's nothing like a YouTube video where it feels like you spend a whole day or longer planning, filming, editing for a video that might get you a few hundred views, especially when you're starting out. Instead, the barrier to entry was so low. And I posted one video a day just to see what happened. Views there, 500 views somewhere else, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was just enjoying it. But on the 20th day, I posted my infamous video, How to Learn Manual Without Stalling. And that video blew up instantly. I had thousands of comments. So I was sitting there for hours just responding to everyone, trying to answer questions, engage, and develop a bit of a community. And essentially, it was like a cycle. I'd get more questions. I figured, oh, I should just do a video reply for this. And then those videos would do well. And I just kept cycling and cycling. And eventually I branched out from the manual tutorial videos to see, let me try and do other stuff like installs or just explaining how other things on your car work. And what do you know? I gained traction. People actually enjoyed listening to me talk, enjoyed the way that I described or portrayed things. And I enjoyed helping people who were interested in cars, didn't know exactly how to get started. They were able to, in some ways, live vicariously through me because I was sharing what I would be doing anyways, the lifestyle, me and my Z just having fun. Oh, what happens if I rip my strut brace off of my car? I've always wanted to know that. Now I have an excuse to go out and do it and also share it to other people what my experience is, what the results are. But it all started clicking when I got that first email that said, hey, we love what you're doing on your channel. We'd love to send you out some free detailing spray if you'd give us a genuine review and just post a video on it. Let us know what you think. And at the time I was mind blown. Wait, I'm just posting a little 30-second, 1 minute long videos on TikTok and people are sending me free detail stuff. That's huge. So I made my video. I actually liked the product, so it was easy to talk about it. But at that point, it started clicking. As I continue to grow, create content that people want to see, create the content that I want to make, then I learned I could also connect brands that I like or that I respect, that I want to collaborate with, or that I would use anyways with my audience who is either unaware or is looking for a recommendation or whatever it might be. And eventually I could get paid to essentially help companies market, which then is a feedback loop because it allows me to do more of what I want to do and create more of the content everyone wants to see. So from that point forward, for the next 4 months straight, I posted 3 fully edited 1 minute long videos a day. I gained probably 100,000 followers over the course of that grind. I'd wake up in the morning, hop in my Z, drive to my designated filming location, come up with 3 solid video ideas, film them all the way through from start to finish, run home, edit one, post it. Respond to comments as quickly as possible. Edit the other 2 videos, spread them out, and post them probably 2 or 3 hours apart. And that was all I did. But that was probably the most focused I have ever been in my life. Eventually, it got to the point where I was putting so much time and effort into each video that I couldn't do 3 in a day. One short, 1 minute long video would take a full day to produce. So I slowed down and eventually spread them out as they got grander and grander. But the progression and the grind always remained. So fast forward, starting to gain more traction. It all falls together when I made a sponsored video for Fixed. It's a Bluetooth dongle, which I've been using for probably 4 years at that point. So yeah, heck yeah, I'll promote you guys. It's plugged into my car right now. As soon as that video went live, they PayPal me the payment, and I was able to immediately go out that day and buy this E36 project. It was the coolest thing ever. I saw the payment come in. I had already looked at the car, went to the bank, withdrew the money, and next thing you know, I have my next huge project that I'm sure you guys have followed along, or if you haven't, you can watch the entire series on any of my platforms, or stay tuned for the full YouTube series that's coming out soon. But that's basically how it's gone. It's a cycle. Rinse and repeat. Create amazing content that I want to do, that I'm genuinely excited about, that my audience is excited to see. Connect with brands that either provide stuff that I would be getting anyways, or that I respect and want to work with regardless, and continue to grind and grow. So that's how I end up going to SEMA for the first time I road tripped my 350Z that I built my whole channel on to SEMA to run Nissan's page. That was probably the most humbling moment that I've had up to that point. The fact that I'd had so much support and built what I think is an awesome community of people who are genuinely interested in learning about cars, working on them, and about being positive, which is what I always try to embed in my content. And because of that support, I was able to go and work directly with the brand whose car built my page. I can't put into words how grateful I was, still am, to be in that position. And regardless of any of the struggles and drawbacks that there are of being a content creator, you can never take that away. How grateful I am and how blessed I am to even be in this position, regardless of how much effort and work I had to put in to get here. So it sounds like a walk in the park, right? Wake up, make some videos, post it, get paid, right? Unfortunately, being a content creator in the automotive space, while it has its amazing pluses, comes with a whole boatload of stress, uncertainty, huge mistakes to be made, and learning experiences that you're gonna have to go through if you really actually want to make this into a career. The algorithm is your boss. If you want to generate enough money off of social media, you have to get views. You have to do what the platforms want so that they're willing to push your content out to the most eyes. Even if someone chooses to follow you, if you put out a piece of content that doesn't hit the exact metrics that the algorithm is hungry for, it won't push them out. Your followers will never see your video. So what the algorithm and the different companies force you to do is you have to be light on your feet. You have to be able to pivot at a moment's notice. Unless you grow to such a huge level that your name alone carries so much weight. And even then we see that some people with huge followings, you see them fall off, right? You gotta always focus on being yourself and staying genuine to your brand while also being relevant to the all-knowing algorithm. And that comes with a lot of stress. Imagine you invest 2 days and a ton of money into a video idea and you bought a bunch of parts to install in your car, but you didn't hook the viewers right at the beginning, or you didn't give your content every best possible chance to succeed and it gets 1,000 views when you average 50,000 or 100,000. It's really hard to detach yourself from the performance of what you just put out. And because there's a pretty direct correlation between how well your videos do and how much companies are willing to pay you or how much the platform's willing to pay you, it can be really stressful. You can run into situations where you feel lost. And I see that with a lot of creators. People sometimes aren't willing to adapt to what the platforms are asking for. Like when they introduced Reels and Instagram, a lot of people were like, this is a photos app, I don't want to make Reels. And then unfortunately, a lot of them are complaining that they're not seeing the same exposure that they used to get. These platforms set the rules and it's your job, if you want to make a living off of them, to find the best way to play the system for you, your content, style, and your audience. Another interesting drawback or conflict that I've run into, especially this year when I've been traveling a lot more, is that your regular scheduled content almost takes a back seat to sponsored or collaborative content if you're not hyper organized and prepared. When Nissan reached out to me and said, hey, we want to fly you out to Japan to check out the factory where the GTR is being produced, our heritage collection where they have literally my dream body kit for a 350Z on a Super GT race car. Yeah, I'm going to drop everything that I'm doing because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. But what that meant is that you're in the middle of, say, a Cyberpunk garage transformation project that might be taking a little bit longer than you want. Say you have all your stuff outside, covered under tarps, hoping that it doesn't rain. It just means that's getting deferred unless you plan it out. Essentially, your time suddenly becomes a lot more valuable once you start having to deal with different brands and deadlines. It really forces you to mature and treat it like a business. If you don't treat it like a business, at least automotive content creation, I don't think you're going very far. I feel like even a lot of OF models treat their work like a business and definitely pays like one for some of them. And again, not, oh, it's me. These are just the realities that you might have to deal with as an automotive content creator. But the big one, money. Oh, when people think you've made it big, that's just it. That's not exactly the case. For one, keep in mind, cars are one of the most expensive hobbies, passions, just general undertakings that a person's going to deal with in their entire life. And if you're interested in modifying your car or getting even further into the whole process of buying high-end cars, then that still holds true. Point being, it takes money to make money unless you're the type of person doing super creative things with super low budget builds or explainers and nothing to do with actually building cars. Yeah, a lot of the money that you bring in is going to be used on your builds, on your business, on doing bigger and better and crazier things. My profit margin last year was like 20%. The rest went back into the build. Now keep in mind, I've been doing this for 3-4 years now at this point. So I'm still very much in the growth phase. I'm sure once you reach the levels of the TJs and Amelias, you're able to take more out of your business and still have it be fully functional. But that's part of the process. And you have to reinvest in yourself if you want to grow further and do bigger and better things. Side note, there's this thing that you learn very quickly called net 60 and net 90. Those two things are the bane of my existence. Essentially, if you don't negotiate properly, you might put in a huge amount of work for a huge project or create a whole bunch of videos for a brand, not get paid for 3 months. So that definitely adds to the monetary stress. I've had months where I've had more money come in 1 month than I have over entire years in the past. But I've had stretches of 3 or 4 months where I haven't had a single significant cent come into my account. We're talking about stress. That is part of it that you have to take into account, especially if you have kids or responsibilities that a single young car guy don't have. That's why a lot of people build their profiles on the side while they work a traditional job. In my case, I've always been an entrepreneur, so this was no different to me. I've been able to make side hustles work so I can put the majority of my time and effort into what I feel like is going to give the greatest returns, both for my mental health, for my passion, and monetarily in the future. Now that leads to the second part, taxes. I don't know if you guys saw the Stradman's recent video where he was fined $500,000 that he had to pay back in back taxes to the IRS because essentially, as he described it, the tax code is not up to date with reality. So basically, as a creator, you can either do what you think is right and interpret the rules in the way that you see fit or your accountant or tax professional sees fit and work within the weird confines of the tax code, or you can risk getting audited and paying back taxes down the line. Take your pick. I'm still just trying to understand this all anyway, because again, when you start out, this is essentially a business and you're a one-man band. You are doing everything. Marketing, emails, administration, builds, filming, editing, sound, color grading, transport, taxes, payroll if you do eventually hire people on. It is a full-fledged business if you want to grow to a significant level. And then probably one of the biggest topics that creators in general is the pressure to compare yourself to everyone else. Because anyone can have the video be seen by millions of people on the internet now, there's more competition for clicks, for views, for everything. There is a Dodge Viper behind me and I love it. What's the saying? Like, comparison is the enemy of progress or something like that? Yeah, it's really hard to post a video and you get 10,000 views, which is great. Then you see someone else post something that's super low effort, or they have something just innately that you don't have and there's nothing you can do about it. It's human nature to compare and maybe feel bad about yourself or get down on yourself. But what I will say is that if you push through all that, the struggle and the stress, being a content creator will help you develop a tough skin if you don't have one already. And if you don't develop one, you're not going to be a very happy person because you will get hate no matter what you do. No one is going to be happy about everything you do. So you have to be very confident in yourself. You have to be comfortable in your own skin, and you have to be willing to take constructive criticism as well as ignore, shut out, or deal with in a positive way, not constructive criticism. But yeah, I've gone on way too long. This edit's gonna take forever. Hopefully I can cut it down quickly. Let's answer some questions that you guys dropped on Instagram. Let's answer some questions that your 350Z content creator, check him out. As an automotive content creator, what's the hardest thing you've had to overcome? For me, perfectionism. I was the type of person who would procrastinate on everything. Not because I was lazy or because I wasn't capable, but because I was so anxious about getting things right that my brain basically reverted to putting things off because the stress was building. I didn't want to make a mistake. I didn't want to get a bad grade on a paper. I didn't want to put a ton of time into something and then realize that I was doing it wrong or made a mistake and have to change it up. I'm sure some of you guys can relate. And that's why I have 3 years worth of backed up YouTube videos, because filming the YouTube video, the work had to get done, whatever it was. But actually putting something out that I'm proud of, there's so much anxiety in getting it right the first time that I basically never posted consistently anywhere outside of my startups until short form content became a thing, which lowered that anxiety level to where it was so much easier for me to say, okay, if I invest an hour into filming something and posting it and it doesn't do well, then it's not the end of the world. Those first 20 days where it's no matter what, I'm just gonna post something. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's going out. And it only took 20 days of posting for me to hit something that really worked, and that set off this whole thing. So in hindsight, Don't wait, just start, just post, just pick something that you can accomplish towards your goal in 2 minutes and just knock that out and get the ball rolling. Because I can guarantee you, if I had not procrastinated and had not been such a perfectionist on my YouTube stuff, I'd be much further ahead in this whole ecosystem than I am right now. I'm just glad that I eventually figured it out. Vote for Ben, ask what am I working towards. All I'll say is I've been dropping little teasers throughout my videos for the past like 2 years as to what I'm planning, what's going on. So if you avidly watch my videos, you will notice little hints and you'll kind of piece it together. But I'll drop one right now. This whole Cyberpunk Garage transformation, the only reason I even started this was because I needed to clear out that corner on the left side of the garage for something huge. That's it. How do I choose project? Honestly, I've just picked things that I have found interesting. And that's what I love the most about my community is the fact that I haven't felt the need to go outside of, not my comfort zone, but my interest zone. Things that I find interesting, a lot of people find interesting and relatable and cool. So I already have pretty much all of next year planned out. At least major projects. Everyone loves a clean quality 350Z that's driven like it's supposed to be and it doesn't sound like it has a fart kit. And classic BMW, not many people are seriously gonna hate on classic BMWs. That I'm doing my own thing too, and I think that's what makes it unique and interesting. Motorcycles, do I own one or would I ever ride one? No. I don't know if you guys know Snooj on YouTube. He was a huge moto vlogger. He had a Panigale. He eventually got out of the whole motorcycle scene because he saw too many people get injured. Also, I've heard that once you ride a motorcycle, like a serious motorcycle, it kind of ruins cars. And I love cars too much to do that. So my uncle and his friend, they're motorcycle riders, and I will live vicariously through them. I love your 350Z. Me too. And I think it needs even more love because I've deferred some things on it. Yeah, the Z is gonna get a lot of love coming up pretty soon. Last one, Prolific Diego asks, how and when did you begin working on your own car? Here's how I started. I got my first car in high school and immediately went and looked for the cheapest mod that I could afford. Just do something to it. I got these music reacting LED lights that you put underneath your dashboard. That was the coolest thing ever because I had a really nice sound system in that car. And I just graduated from there. When I got my Mini Cooper, I started doing little things. Basically, look at how much a mechanic is gonna cost you. Buy some tools instead and do the basic work yourself. YouTube, for most common vehicles, has all the information you could ever need. The internet is your friend. Join Facebook groups, join forums, and just start with small stuff. Like I worked my way up from brake jobs, oil changes, eventually to, oh no, the valve cover's leaking on my Z. I guess I should just do a valve cover and just go from there. But I've rambled on for way too long. You guys let me know if you like this style of content, if this is something that I can do just whenever I'm on a drive, actually chat with you guys, give me the feedback, and I'm gonna keep the content coming out as fast as I can. Like always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we're onwards and upwards.